Sam, they can't see you. I promise. They can't see you. Elevation Nation cannot see you. Whatever you're doing, they can't see you. Sam was just like giving a heart to everyone, you know, like doing his hands in a heart motion, smiling. Eyes are full of joy because he's so excited to talk to us today. Talk to me, but also you, Elevation Nation. What's up?
What's up, Elevation Nation? Happy Fortitude and 15. We got an exciting episode for you all today because we're getting old. We're getting older. Elevation Nation is about to have his terrible twos its birthday. And I, for one, am very grateful that we are still here. So, Parker, congratulations to you, my friend. We did it. 2 years in. Great work. Long way to go.
2 years in, 730 days later, 182 episodes later, we have a list of elevators that is in the hundreds. Lots of conversations, a lot of introspection, a lot of ups and lots of downs. But yeah, it's crazy to think, Sam, 2 years later, we're still talking into our microphones. Maybe we need more new microphones for our birthday. I don't know, but ours sound pretty good. It's pretty cool to be in a position where we can make a difference through our podcast, be in a position to meet really interesting people, but then also for ourselves, you know, learn about ourselves, because you and I are completely different people since when we first started the podcast in October 2020. So I'm just very grateful for this experience and this ride in Elevation Nation, because it's been one hell of a ride.
Amen to that. I think to recap quickly of what's changed over, I guess, the past 2 years of Elevation Nation. Before we even had Elevation Nation, we had something called Hired You, a company that we ran with another buddy named Parker, all about trying to get college kids internships and jobs. And that was awesome. But that was the seed that sparked Elevation Nation. So when we got sick of reading resumes and prepping cover letters, we transitioned to the next chapter of our lives, which was young adulthood and figuring that out. And that's what really inspired Elevation Nation and what we're doing now. We started by really trying to get introspective and figure out how to conquer the real world as a young adult. But what is really exciting for me, Parker, with Elevation Nation is it continues to evolve as we evolve, right? We've now kind of figured out, because we're now in our late 20s, not our early 20s anymore, what the transition from college to the real world is like. And now this next phase of our life that we're going into is, well, how do you stand out as a 20-something-year-old, as a 30-something-year-old, and elevate yourself and the community around you? And that's what I'm so excited and looking forward to in the next 2 years that we have with Elevation Nation, is building that community of unique and inspiring elevators to come share their story with Elevation Nation, and more importantly, join this community that we're building. So we're really excited to offer that for you all. We finally have a newsletter that we're sending out twice a month in addition to the podcasts. We would love for you all to recommend any elevators that you think should share their story to Elevation Nation. We'd love to have them on the podcast and welcome them to our community. And soon, we've already had 2, but we're going to start to do more regular in-person networking activities, events, growth conferences, all different cool, fun activities for Elevation Nation to really get to know and grow and elevate with one another. So we are excited for what the next 2 years have to offer. Thank you for bearing with us for the past 2. It's been a blast.
Highlighting the last 2 years is a lot. There's been a lot, like you just said, from what we started to where we are now. It's completely different. I feel like Elevation Nation has taken on a very different path than we ever expected. However, you know, I'm looking at the list of people we've talked to over the last year. We have entrepreneurs, a mentalist, people who have been on Shark Tank, someone who started a company and works with Mariah Carey out in California, someone who helps people, young adults, with their job and internship process. Let's see, I mean, people who are professional athletes, real estate developers, people who are giving back to their community, world religion leaders, Olympic athletes. Oh man, the list just keeps going and going. And what's amazing, Sam, I had this conversation with you over the weekend, actually, was that it's really cool to to see the guests that we had way back when we first started this thing in 2020 and how they've elevated and how they've, got into the next level to wherever they wanted to go when we had the conversation with them. And it might not it's probably not because of us. It might be because of us. Who knows? But it's really cool to look at where those people are going. Because I feel like the people in Elevation Nation, the people we've met, are people who are going to continue to elevate and make a difference in the real world, both as young adults and then eventually old adults. And that's what's really, really cool and empowering. And, one of the main reasons why I love to do this every single day is we continue to meet people like that, that are trying to make a difference in their lives and the lives of others, more importantly.
So, Parker, I'll ask you, it's been 2 years. What are 2 highlights of the Elevation Nation journey for you thus far?
2.
I know it's tough to narrow down to 2.
One.
But...
Oh, I guess because, second year birthday is what you're saying. Yeah. Oh, highlight. Okay. Let's see. I think a highlight, does it have to be like an instance, or does it have to be like...
just give me 2 highlights.
All right, 2 highlights.
There's no restrictions.
I really
on you.
do think the last 2 weeks for us, when we've done our in-person events, that was super, super cool for us. And that was without a doubt a highlight, just because we had been talking with these people. We started this at the beginning of COVID, right? And no one was getting together. And the fact that we were able to be together in person with people who are part of Elevation Nation, it made it feel like, not that I hadn't felt like it was real before, but it feels real now. That people are willing to spend their time with us, with other elevators. I think that was an extreme highlight for me. And then I think another highlight is reading DMs and talking with friends who say, wow, I reverted to that episode and it helped me, through something, or there was some value in the conversation that we had on Fortitude and 15, or with a guest, or when we introduce elevators to each other, and they're able to find value and meaning in whatever they're going to do together. I think that's what it's all about, and I think that's not going to change as we continue. But looking back, those are 2 really big highlights for me that I never thought would become a reality. Yeah,
it's definitely been...
What about you?
The past couple weeks have been really impactful. I think, a highlight for me, Parker, was we were both in D.C., and I remember vividly scootering over to your apartment to film our announcement video that we were launching Elevation Nation. And that was a highlight because, 1, you were in the same city as me, and 2, I think it showed us taking that first step towards creating something else, something different that was ours, and sharing that with the world. So that was really impactful and powerful for me. And another accomplishment I had, I think, is very similar to yours, which is finally getting our group of elevators together and just watching the magic happen. And that was kind of our goal and our dream and our vision this entire time, is we are vetting and meeting with these extremely impactful, influential, amazing elevators. What will happen if we get these people in the room together? And it proved our hypothesis and our value prop by putting them in the room and just seeing the magic happen. They didn't really need much from us. And that's what's really cool about what we're building with this nation, is when you combine amazing people with an elevator mentality in a room, incredible things can happen. And so those were 2 highlights for me these past 2 years. It's been a blast.
It's pretty cool to see young adults, and the majority of Elevation Nation are young adults, making a massive impact in the world. And that's super cool to be a part of in some way, shape, or form, whether it's the littlest of bit or the biggest of bit. Just being part of it is what's, I think, really interesting about this journey. But I know we are at 10 minutes, which means that we have that new segment of Fortitude and 15 where we highlight 2 elevators who are making an impact on the real world, conquering the real world as we speak. So, Sam, I'll pass it to you to go first because I went first last time.
Deal. We got a shout out to DC Elevation Nation member, his newest member of the District of Columbia, Peter Fusiliero, who recently got a job coaching for the Washington Wizards organization for the Capital City Go-Go. This is his first professional coaching gig after coaching for a long time in college. It's great to welcome him to DC, spend some more time with him. Peter, we are extremely proud of you. Congratulations on the new role.
It was great seeing Peter over the weekend. What a guy. What a guy. All right, I'm throwing it back, way, way back. Not as far back as Peter's episode, but back. Elevator. And you're going to be surprised about this one. 24. Dan Alpert. Dan Alpert, great conversation, great dude. When we were talking with him, he was the president of the student body at the University of Maryland. But I was connecting with Dan over the weekend, and he is actually moving to Budapest to work with the Jewish community and refugees who are fleeing Ukraine at this moment. And he's going to be doing that for a long time, over the next 9 months. So, I mean, talk about putting others first. Dan is, when you think about that, that epitomizes who Dan is. He's someone who is community-driven in everything he does. So I respect the hell out of Dan and what he's doing to elevate those around him who are in very, very different situations that we all, typically live through on a daily basis.
Proud of you, Dan. Thanks for elevating the world, literally, with your actions. Those are some great shout-outs. Another place that you're able to see what the nation is up to is by subscribing to our newsletter. So the link is on our website. The link is in our Instagram bio. Subscribe to the newsletter. We promise we won't spam you. It's twice a month. You can delete it if you don't want to read it. But we got highlights on elevators. We got needs of the nation, people who are looking to connect with certain folks for jobs, for branding, for sponsorship opportunities. And of course, you get some updates from Parker and myself, some tips for your mental fortitude. So check those out, forward those to friends and family. We're excited to finally be creating a different type of medium for you all to share. So thank you for that, Elevation Nation.
And I just want to leave it with one thing, and then we can close out this Fortitude in 15. As we go into the colder months, as we go into Thanksgiving time, all of that, I think it's a perfect time to remind ourselves of what we're thankful for and the people that we have in our lives, and just don't take that for granted. Tell people you love them, the ones that you love, who you care about each and every day. Tell them you love them and tell them how much you mean to them, and try to make that conscious effort to stay connected to those people that you care about the most, because in reality, you never know when that's going to get taken away from you. So just wanted to say that, Sam. Didn't want to leave it on a down note, but it's a high note because Elevation Nation's elevating, and we got great stuff coming. And that's it, man. That's it.
Till next week, Elevation Nation. Check out our episode this week with the Handshake Bets guys. You got Tyler, you got James, and you got Pat. Their company just got acquired by Jake Paul, TikTok superstar, boxing superstar. We talk with those guys. It's a blast. Check it out. Till next week. Peace.